have to make this video. I don't want to have to say this, but I gotta be transparent. I like live action anime adaptations.
You need to leave!
You gotta be kidding me.
Yep, I do. Alright. And so I made an entire list of anime that should also get live action adaptations. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? My name is Mario, aka the Loot Box Hero. Check out the second channel. Go to the second channel, is popping. Aka the real Super Mario, aka YouTube's greatest fat man here, bring you another video. All right, so we have an interesting video for you on this Friday afternoon. If this does happen to come out on time, knock on wood. I had just watched the Kakuguri Netflix adaptation known as Bet, and it was one part fun, one part booty butt cheeks, dookie butter dog water, hot garbage. But it was just fun enough for it to be alright. And then I went on the internet and I saw that they were doing a Bleach live action adaptation. And then I saw that Warner Brothers was doing a Naruto adaptation. And then Lionsgate ended up doing the Naruto adaptation. And then Sony is doing a One Punch Man adaptation, which will probably still turn out looking better than the season 3 that we're gonna get eventually. So yeah, I'm like, okay, I think y'all need some help. All right, Hollywood needs some help. I'm gonna give you some pointers. So I made a list of anime that are probably the best shots to adapt without, you know, pissing people off and ruining the property that you're trying to mess with. They don't have massive budgets. They're not too Japanese, so that if you have to westernize them, you don't have to do too many changes. And I think these shows would actually be pretty fun if they got adapted. So let's get on into it. Blue Gender. So Blue Gender, I think, could actually be a pretty good adaptation to get a pretty good anime to get a live action adaptation, mainly because we've already technically done this before. All right, if you don't know what Blue Gender is, it's a story about a guy named Yuji who has super duper AIDS and he is dying, and so he gets frozen in the modern day because they want to, you know, crowd freeze him until they can find a cure for his super duper AIDS, and then they can bring him back and then cure him. Well, time goes by and they defrost him, but they didn't defrost him because they had a cure for his super duper AIDS. They defrosted him because the world was ending and they needed people to fight bug monsters that were killing people. Kind of like Starship Troopers, but with more AIDS. You know, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they defrost him to help fight, and turns out his super duper AIDS actually kind of helps him fight against these bugs, because now he's got like superhuman abilities for whatever reason. And it's kind of a dumb action show, but there are like a lot of poignant moments and themes in this show as well. It's also very dark, very edgy, and very sexual, which it means it's something for the whole family. You know, but I think that this could kind of work because it's kind of like a darker version of Starship Troopers. All right, because Starship Troopers is edgy, violent, sexual, and it's got giant bugs in it. And this could be the dark, edgy, emo Starship Troopers that we all been waiting for. Speaking of dark, edgy, and emo, we have Vampire in the Garden. So now, if you've never heard of Vampire in the Garden is a Netflix OVA, which they've actually been pretty good with OVAs lately. Where basically it's a 5-episode series that is about two girls, one of them being the general's daughter in this war between vampires and humans. And the other one, I believe, is a princess of the vampires. It's been a while since I've seen the show. I believe she is the princess of the vampires, and they both leave their sides of the human vampire war, and they end up in this Romeo and Juliet like situation where they kind of like each other. The story moves very fast because it's only 5 episodes, and I think it will make a pretty good anime adaptation, mainly because you've got the drama and the romance that can bring in like female fans, you know, and you also have the violence and sex for the guys, you know what I'm saying? I think this could work out as a pretty good adaptation. Of course, you throw in the right actresses and the right director, and you might hire yourself a little piece of gold here. All right, now we get to the juice. Now we get to the real juice of this video. Okay, we get to the peak, pinnacle, trash, Scum's Wish. Yo, boy. Now I am kind of a trash anime connoisseur. I don't like to put it out there because everybody puts it out there, and I like to keep my image looking kind of fresh, but I do like anime trash, and it doesn't get much more trash than Scum's Wish. And when I mean trash in a good way. So, if you don't know what Scum's Wish is basically a romance, but it's kind of like a darker, you know, more dramatic romance, where it's about these two kids. One's a guy, one's a girl. I can't remember everybody's names, but essentially they're in a relationship with each other, but not really with each other. They're using each other as substitutes for the people they actually like, but are kind of unattainable to them. All right, which basically creates this toxic relationship that branches off into other toxic relationships that basically branches off into this love octagon. It's trashy, it's dramatic, and I love it. Okay. All right, Scum's Wish is a show that you need to watch. It was a show that got handicapped by Amazon and their stupid anime. What was it? Anime Zone. Basically, Amazon was selling an anime service inside of its Prime service. So imagine paying like, you know, the $16 for Amazon Prime, and then having to pay another $7 for Anime Zone. It was crazy, and it handicapped this show. And I think this show could get more eyes to it, and it would be a great anime adaptation. All right, chicks dig shows like this, okay? Dudes dig shows like this. Scum's Wish needs an adaptation.
29歳なんですけど、お兄さんはなんで結婚もしてなくて子供もいないんですか？
勘弁してくれよ。いいかな、良い子のみんな。人生なんて人それぞれなんだから。毎晩特に面白くもない深夜ドラマ見ながら安いカップ酒煽ってる独り身のお兄さんを不幸せと思い込まない方が。
Life Lessons with Uramachi Oni-san is about a depressed dude that works with children and has to put on the mask of not being a depressed dude. And I'm like, yo, this is like my life, essentially. All right? You know what I'm saying? Being an actual depressed person that has to put on the mask of happiness. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I don't work with kids, but, you know, I do talk to y'all, so it's close enough, right? I think this will be a pretty good adaptation. All right, a comedy movie type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's grounded, you know, so, you know, you don't have to worry about the budget being too high. Get a pretty good comedy actor in there. This, you know, the perfect person for this? The dude from the Sonic movies. The dude from the Sonic movies could pull this off, okay? Have him be like, you know, the main character guy. Come on, man. This easy clap, bro. Easy clap.
I'm sorry. I forgot you're not a dog. You're a filthy pig.
All right, so we get back to the more grounded affair, and we have Looksome. So now, of course, one thing that has been prevalent in Hollywood is wokeness and talking about social issues and stuff like that. Looksome is basically about bullying. So it's about this guy, this kid that goes to school. He gets bullied because he's fat and he's weird. and he gets beaten up and assaulted. It's actually pretty violent. And one day he ends up magically being able to turn into like this, you know, this hot dude, this hot athletic dude. You know what I'm saying? Your typical, like, you know, K-pop guy. You know, he turns into that guy. And, you know, when he goes to sleep for whatever reason. And he basically has to operate in school now as the hot dude while also working as the fat dude to keep himself afloat. It does not really delve into Korean culture that much, but it does show you what's going on in modern Korea as far as the bullying and all that other kind of stuff. And bullying is kind of a universal thing. I mean, there's bullying in America. So I think if somebody wanted to do a story about people getting bullied, this would be a pretty easy adaptation. Speaking of easy adaptations, we have Real Life. Real Life is basically the dream of a lot of people. What if somebody came to you at the lowest point of your post-adolescence? All right, you know, I'll say you've been to college, you weren't able to get that really cool job, you're getting cut off by your parents, your life sucks. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, take this little pill and you can go back to high school and start over again. Would you do it? That's basically Real Life. All right. And of course, it goes through the typical Japanese high school experience. You know, there's love triangles. There is the declaration of love at the fireworks show that you have at every school romance. I think it can be adapted pretty good to the West. That premise is valuable, okay? Because anybody would want to start over and try again. Everybody's made mistakes between high school, college, and post-adolescence. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely give it a shot, okay? All right, I want to go back in time and be like, hey, chill out on the cheeseburgers, bro. All right, you think you're gonna bounce back? Like, no, you're gonna be fat forever. All right, chill out. And that is Inuyashiki. Inuyashiki is another show that got handicapped by Amazon. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. But basically, it's about essentially old man Iron Man. Okay? All right, so this old man who works a regular job, you know what I'm saying? And while he's going to his regular job to support his family that kind of hates him and his boring life and this kind of, you know, mundane version of Japan, he dies. He just gets run over by a alien, okay? Like, and they freak out like they're on a freaking bender or something. And they're like, oh snap, we just killed some people. Oh, we need to fix this. Get the Iron Man suits. And so they basically revive this man and give him a whole daggone Iron Man body. So now he is trying to rectify some of the issues going on in his kind of mundane but kind of dark version of Japan. He ends up fighting Yakuza. He ends up saving people from burning buildings. He's doing the superhero thing, but there's also somebody else that has much darker intentions that also got ran over by these irresponsible aliens and given an Iron Man body. And this is Inuyashiki. And I think this will be a pretty good a live action adaptation because, I mean, you know, one, like, they've already had an adaptation like it about a regular guy living a regular life, going to his regular job, and then a massive tragedy happens and everybody dies but him. And he figures out that, oh, wait a second, he's got superpowers. He's indestructible. Essentially, he is like white Luke Cage out this piece. I think M. Night Shyamalan could do a pretty good job with this adaptation because that movie in itself was like a love letter to comic book stories. So, I mean, why not do a love letter to superhero mangas? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Tell me, Mario, you're just crazy. How could you like anime adaptations? Come on now. Tell me in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real.